A season once teetering on the edge of collapse may have just found its turning point. After weeks of frustration, missed opportunities, and growing doubts, something finally clicked. But was it a true breakthrough, or just a fleeting glimpse of what could have been all along? The pieces are shifting, the pressure is mounting, and just when you think the story's settled, a surprising twist changes everything. I'll tell you everything in detail, but first click the like button and subscribe to stay well informed. After a brutal 5-game losing streak that left the Atlanta Falcons reeling and fans questioning whether the team had anything left to give, Week 12 offered a sliver of hope, and now, the energy in Flowery Branch feels different. The Falcons not only broke the streak, they rediscovered their identity. Defensive coordinator Jeff Ulbrich described the mood shift perfectly. Adversity is this amazing gift. What was once a locker room weighed down by close losses and mounting pressure is now one breathing a bit easier, reinvigorated by victory. But that win means nothing if it doesn't spark a legitimate late-season push, and everyone inside the building knows it. A.J. Terrell Jr., who's been one of the emotional leaders of this team through thick and thin, summed it up clearly: consistency, not becoming complacent, not being too happy about the win. His words cut through the noise. This team knows exactly where it stands, at 4-7, playoff hopes hanging by a thread, and every snap from here on out loaded with consequence. The NFC South remains wide open, just enough to tempt belief. With Tampa Bay at 6-5 and Carolina sitting at 6-6 with a daunting stretch ahead, the Falcons technically still have a shot. But that window is almost shut. The Athletics simulator has them with a mere 2% chance to get in. So yes, there's hope, but it's the kind that demands perfection and a little help from elsewhere. As the Falcons prepare to head to New Jersey for their Week 13 clash against the Jets, the focus now is just one word: urgency. They have to treat every week like a playoff game, because realistically, that's what it's become. Fortunately, the injury report provided a few reasons for optimism, something that's been rare this season. Chris Lindstrom, despite managing a foot injury for weeks, hasn't missed a game and was back on the practice field as a limited participant. Barring any setbacks, he's expected to anchor the offensive line once again. That kind of toughness sets the tone, especially for a unit trying to build cohesion in these crucial weeks. Matthew Bergeron's return to the field after his ankle scare against New Orleans is another positive step. After being leg-whipped in that game, his quick recovery is huge for the offensive line's interior chemistry. Raheem Morris was visibly encouraged to have him back. "It was good to have him back with his fellas," he said. And let's be real, the offensive line finally getting healthy at the right time could make the difference in these final matchups. Kaderil Hodge and J.D. Bertrand were also limited participants, small signs pointing to a unit trending toward full strength. But it's not all good news. Drake London remains doubtful with a PCL injury that kept him out of last Sunday's game. Morris left the door cracked open but made it clear the odds aren't great. "I'm going to give him all week," he said, but London didn't practice Thursday, marking a second straight DNP. The team has learned to operate without him, but let's not kid ourselves. His absence would be felt against the Jets' defense that's stingy against the pass. And while linebacker Josh Woods is trending toward missing his third straight game, this team has developed a resilience born from necessity. That's what Zach Robinson, the offensive coordinator, praised even during the losing skid. He spoke of how the team kept showing up, kept grinding, never letting effort slip even as results eluded them. That's what made Week 12's win feel so deserved, not because they caught a lucky break, but because they finally translated hard work into results. Now the storyline shifts. That breakthrough? It has to be a beginning, not a one-off. As Ulbrich put it, it just shows us who we really are. Sunday showed a team capable of discipline, focus, and execution. The challenge now is doing it again, and again, and again. The margin for error is razor thin. One slip, one letdown, and the season's narrative shifts back to disappointment. And as fate would have it, quarterback irony continues to haunt Atlanta like a shadow. The team that once bet on Desmond Ridder in 2023, only to see him benched, traded, and replaced, now finds itself watching that same player sign with the Minnesota Vikings. Ridder's NFL journey has been a winding one, from being the Falcons' hopeful future to landing on the practice squad of Kirk Cousins' old team. The symmetry is impossible to ignore. Cousins, now in Atlanta, was let go by Minnesota to make room for the next generation. 6 weeks after signing Cousins to a $100 million deal over 2 seasons, the Falcons drafted Michael Penix Jr. at number 8 overall. Meanwhile, the Vikings took J.J. McCarthy 2 picks later at number 10. It's as if the franchises are dancing the same dance, swapping parts and hoping their next move is the right one. As of now, Cousins remains the steadying force in Atlanta, while Penix, who started the season with flashes of brilliance, sits sidelined with a knee injury. McCarthy hasn't fared much better, missing all of last season with an injury and struggling with consistency in 2025. So Ritter, now in purple, waits in the wings as McCarthy recovers from a concussion. The Vikings' bridge quarterback Sam Darnold has already parlayed a solid season into a new opportunity with the Seahawks, further deepening the strange quarterback web that seems to connect these two franchises. So now we ask, what do you think, Falcons fans? Can this team ride the momentum of Week 12 and make something of this season? Or are we just watching a brief flicker before the light goes out? The truth is, for the Falcons, it's no longer just about wins and losses. It's about defining identity, forging chemistry, and building belief. The playoffs may be the carrot dangling ahead, but the foundation laid over these next 6 weeks could determine the trajectory of the franchise heading into 2026. Players like A.J. Terrell Jr., Chris Lindstrom, and Matthew Bergeron aren't just trying to finish strong, they're setting a tone for the next chapter. And let's not overlook the importance of leadership from veterans like Kirk Cousins. Though the offense hasn't reached its full potential, Cousins' presence has brought stability to a position that's been in flux since the post-Matt Ryan era began. Still, the quarterback narrative continues to evolve. Michael Penix Jr., drafted at number 8 overall, is on the mend with a knee injury, and the pressure to produce will only grow as fans and analysts begin to scrutinize the decision to draft a quarterback after giving Cousins such a significant deal. If there's anything the Falcons hope to avoid, it's becoming a team caught in perpetual transition at quarterback, a fate the Vikings seem to be battling themselves. While Ritter's journey now takes him to Minnesota's practice squad, his shadow still lingers in Atlanta. The decision to move on from him was necessary, and yet, his presence in this unfolding NFC saga adds an element of poetic symmetry. The Falcons are trying to shake free of their quarterback past, but it keeps circling back in unexpected ways. And with McCarthy sidelined and Darnold gone, Ritter might once again find himself thrust into action, only this time wearing purple. But back in Atlanta, all eyes are on the Jets. The Falcons are fighting not just for playoff relevance, but for proof that this roster has the mental and physical endurance to deliver consistent, disciplined football. With Chris Lindstrom getting it out despite injury, Bergeron returning to form, and defensive leaders like Terrell holding the secondary together, the team is slowly piecing itself back into competitive shape. And even with Drake London doubtful, the offense must find answers. The receiving core will need to lean on depth and creativity. This is where players like KhaDarel Hodge could see an expanded role, and where Zach Robinson's play calling must meet the moment. The Falcons can't afford to sputter out offensively, especially against a Jets team that thrives on defensive disruption. Defensively, they'll need more of what we saw in Week 12, discipline, cohesion, and execution. Jeff Ulbrich's message about doing your 1 of 11, just focusing on your role, isn't just motivational fluff. It's a tactical necessity. This defense doesn't have the margin for freelancing. It wins when it functions like a machine, every cog moving in unison. And even if the playoffs remain unlikely, these final games offer a chance to reshape the narrative. No one expected the Falcons to have a deep playoff run this season, but what matters now is showing that the pieces are in place. That this coaching staff, led by Raheem Morris, is capable of fostering resilience. That this roster, battered but not broken, can close out 2025 with a statement. So, here we are. The Falcons are 4-7, playoff hopes flickering, but not dead. The quarterback carousel has spun through another twist with Ritter and Cousins switching cities. The injury report is finally showing signs of healing. The locker room has exhaled. Now comes the hard part, keeping that breath from becoming just a sigh of relief, and instead using it as fuel for a sprint to the finish. If they can replicate the execution of Week 12, stay healthy, and ride the leadership of their core veterans, this team just might claw its way into relevance again. Not necessarily in the standings, but in the hearts of a fan base desperate for proof that better days are coming. That the investment in Cousins and Penix wasn't a flailing double down, but a calculated step towards sustained success. That the spirit we saw last Sunday wasn't a fluke, but a flicker of what this team can be when it plays to its potential. So hit that subscribe button, smash the like, and don't forget to check out the video on screen for more exclusive updates. All the latest from Flowery Branch, the breaking news, and behind-the-scenes details, you'll only find it right here. Go Falcons!